This is Gabriel Gonzalez for Cage Side Press here with Ultimate Fighter Season 30 finalist, Juliana Miller. Juju, first off, I gotta say, like, I know people call you Juju. I know that, you obviously got called out a lot on the show. I feel like I've never done it, and hearing the most people ever call you that made me feel like, wait, are we cool enough? Can I call you Juju, or do I gotta call you Juliana still?
Absolutely, you can call me Juju. I definitely feel way more comfortable with my friends calling me that. I didn't know it was gonna catch on so much with the show where like I'll be in the grocery store and they're like Juju, like from Ultimate Fighter, and I'm like, oh my god, this is just my name now. So it's pretty funny.
I mean, that's cool. I realized it's like, do you call it that? And then someone I was like, no. And now I wonder, like, I think I just overestimated my friendship with Juliana. But that's a
Oh my
story.
god, you did not. You've been with me since day one. So
Always, you've been cool. And, if you want to hear that story, there's another video because we'll just be rehashing it. Let's talk about this. So you are now, or look, we'll talk about coming up on the finale, but we are now a couple months removed from shooting Ultimate Fighter. Talk to me about that experience, and then we'll obviously get into the fight with Kaytlin, Brogan, and everything. What's it been like now? You've been part of the show. People have now seen it. People now have gotten to react with you with it.
it has been really incredible. I've learned so much, both good and bad. I learned that no matter what you say and do, people are going to judge you for it and hate you for it. There is no right and wrong, because even if you think you're saying the right thing, somebody is going to hate it. So the most important thing is really just to be yourself. And I was very much myself on the show. And I think that this is why I have a lot of fans, additionally, a lot of haters, is because I'm just very open. And I think that was one of my biggest takeaways, is that for the rest of my career, I'm really just going to be me and say and talk about what I believe in. And for the people it offends, so be it. For the people it inspires, fucking awesome. And it just feels good to be me.
So I guess the biggest thing when I watch reality TV, I've heard some of the other from people, other shows, not even athletics, but like the drama stuff and all that. People always
Yeah.
talk about the villain edit. It's like I didn't go too crazy, but they just edited me, so I just became that guy or that girl on TV. Do you feel, maybe not the villain, but do you feel like they gave you that edit because it's like, well, we need somebody to quote unquote throw under the bus for some drama?
Yeah, I mean, give and take. They did make me look like the bad guy a little bit, but they also made me look pretty freaking awesome at other times. So really, anything that moves the audience emotionally is going to be great for your career. So I'm excited that I was the person they chose to give that role of emotion for, whether positive or negative. So be it. I was the one out of all the women, like I was really the one that people felt strongly about. And this is exciting because in my fights, I really fight with my heart and soul, and I'm extremely passionate and intense. So, it was cool. A funny story about that, actually, my coach Manolo Hernandez, when I was an amateur coming up, he used to boo me. He would be in Shark Tank and he would be like, boo, boo, Killer Miller, boo. And I was like, Manolo, why are you booing me? And he's like, well, you got to get used to it. One day you're going to be a pro and there's going to be haters. So by the time all these people are hating, I started laughing. I was like, man, I've been getting booed my whole career. This don't mean shit. So
Real quick, does Manolo have kids of his own, and does he bully them to quote prepare them?
he does not have kids of his own. We are his kids. And yes, he does bully us to prepare us, but we're all grown adults. So
I
can't
was
hate
gonna
too much.
like, yeah, I hear that and I'm like, you know what, you must do that to your own children, because man, but I respect it. He's upfront about it. To talk about the show a little bit, we talked pre-show about everything. Talk to me about the little stuff. First of all, getting to be on Peña's team, getting picked by her, being in the house for those weeks. What was all that like now that you're on the other side of it?
leading into Ultimate Fighter, you would ask me, whose team I wanted to be on. And although I initially said Amanda, I said, whatever team I get put on, I feel that me being on the show was written in the stars. So as soon as I got picked on Juliana's team, I was like, yeah, I was so hyped because I knew that no matter where I got placed, it's what was meant for me. And 100%, man, it couldn't be more true. I am so grateful I was on Team Peña. She had the most incredible coaching staff, and I just love Juliana to pieces, man. She is so inspiring. She is the most inspirational story of overcoming obstacles, of, being the person that's overlooked and underestimated, and showing the world that she is the absolute best and no one can stop her. And I love her style. I'm so much like her, honestly. Like, the way I talk, the way I feel, even the way I act and the way I fight is very similar to her. So it was pretty cool getting to experience a fighter that has such a similar style, just in the octagon and in life. And yeah, I would just, now being out, I'm like, holy crap, like, God, the energies, my ancestors, whatever people choose to believe in. I believe in a little bit of all of it, but it put me in the right place at the right time, and I just couldn't be more grateful.
When you're in those house getting down the stretch, like, okay, the first few days, all right, it's summer camp, I just talked to everyone on my phone not too long ago. When it gets really down to the wire and it's like, nah, I kind of want my phone back, I miss people, I want to go eat at my restaurant again. How was that in the house down the stretch?
I liked it. I actually really did enjoy. I enjoyed so much being locked in that house because I was so dedicated and motivated and really just excited for the experience.
Back after technical difficulties and some scenery change for our finalists. So you're talking about you really like being in the house, you really got to dial in. Okay, so I think that when people talk about the show, and I know that people have different feelings about Ultimate Fighter lately, I think that everybody watching your episode where you rematch Clare Guthrie, you had probably the moment of the season, that intensity, I want one more round. I know a lot of people have talked to you about it, so I'm not going to rehash my experience, but did you feel like you got the reaction? Because I feel like very few of the contestants got to have such a moment, even if they did have their own stories going in.
Yeah, in the moment, I was just being me. I wasn't thinking about the show. And to be honest, until the episode aired, I had no idea that I was like that. I got hit kind of a lot in that fight. And my coaches were like, man, your after interview, you killed it. And I was like, what'd I say? And they're like, I don't know, you just killed it. And I was so nervous because I had no idea what I said. I was just like, literally had just walked out of the octagon and they put a camera and mic in your face and you're just like, just got hit in the face for 15 minutes. So I was pretty excited how they hashed it up and how it came out. I had no idea that I could really like speak like that. So that was a huge learning curve. It was definitely an emotional roller coaster to face Clare. Of course, I wanted the rematch eventually, but I was pretty terrified of her and I did not want it right away. Juliana asked me, hey, who do you want to fight? I named every girl in the house, including my own teammates, and then Clare last. I was like, maybe I'll face Clare in the finale or something. Like, our last fight was each other. It'd be cool for us to get experience with someone else before we face each other. And it was really just me dealing with my own demons and my fear of failure. Because I took that first loss really hard and I was so scared to fail again. So it was very moving for me to get out there and face it and just nip it in the butt and deal with it in the beginning. Because had Clare and I be facing each other in the finale, goddamn, that would be one hell of a hill to climb, So I'm happy it's out of the way for now and, on to the next one. But I'm just grateful that Juliana put me through that roller coaster because it was her turn to choose the fights and she chose Clare and I. She's like, no, I want this fight for you. This is going to be the best for you mentally. emotionally, physically, like, you need this battle, you need to get over this hurdle and just do it. And at the time I was like, what the hell, does she hate me? Like, why is she making me do this? And then I learned that she's just the most intelligent woman, and she could not have chose a more perfect fight. So I'm just eternally grateful for her for pushing me to be the best version of myself that day.
I think Dana White's reaction said it all. He loved it. I think people who just like, no, what does it really boil down to? And that love for MMA, I think they connected with that moment, obviously. I think if people know following your career, how well you've done from the amateurs as a early, stage pro now to get here, I think that you could really feel that emotion coming out of you. Okay, so Juliana, I know you have also discussed this at length, so I'm going to try to make it as direct and easy as possible. When people talk about the drama in the house, a lot of people point to you versus Bobby Maximus, which is probably the most interesting fight not in the cage on The Ultimate Fighter. I'm going to just boil it down very bluntly. You said, hey, he was doing some flirting on the show, while in the house. He came out and said that's a lie. I'm assuming you're going to go on the record and say, no, Bobby, you're lying. You were doing flirting with the girls.
Yeah, 100%. I would wake up every morning to Bobby having his little meetings with Clare and Brogan, and Bobby would literally not smile with any of our team outings. The only time Bobby would smile was when he was hanging out with the other team. And multiple times we had said, like, hey, Bobby, like, what about us? Do you want to help us? And he just matched energetically with them, which is cool. But it's like, hey, bro, like, you're a married man. It's kind of weird that you spend all your time with these girls. I mean, even Zach Pauga, who's his friend, came out and like made a video about Bobby in the snake box, which was Bobby would bring these girls into the sauna and he would have his meetings in the sauna so much that people in the house brought out this little snake figure and they put it in the sauna. So when he walked out there, he was going into the snake box, and they would have their little secret meetings in there where they would write notes to each other. Lord knows what they talked about. And you know what? To each their own. People can do whatever they'd like. But for me, I'm like, listen, I'm fighting these girls. I would just appreciate if just for fight week, you could please put aside your obsession with younger girls and just take it easy and be chill. And he was like, absolutely not. I'm never going to change my behavior to make someone else comfortable. So to me, I'm like, wow, that really shows how much of a leader you are, that you're just gonna make people feel a certain kind of way. And it's not like I yelled at him. I wasn't screaming at him. I literally politely just expressed how I felt. And to each their own. You don't have to deal with that. But I will say that multiple of my secrets were shared in both of my fights. My injury, they knew about my injury, went for my leg. Additionally, there was this move that I had been practicing, and somehow they knew to not clench because of this move I was practicing. And I don't know anyone else on my team that was even really communicating with the other team. So that's how I feel about it. We're never gonna match heads. And the thing is the editors have hours and hours of film. If I contacted them and I was like, hey, send me some real videos, I'm pretty sure I could literally put together a 5-hour reel of Bobby consistently flirting and touching on these women. So, like, he says that it's all bullshit, but okay, let me give you a thing. Go to Zach Paunga's page, click on his video. He's like, okay, Juju, I'll be the daddy of the group, but if I'm the daddy, Bobby's the weird uncle that people won't that parents will not let watch their kids. Like, Bobby is the kind of dude you do not want around your teenage daughter. And multiple people on our team made jokes about it. So clearly I am not the only person who felt that way. And yeah, that's really all I have to say about it. I got a lot of hate for speaking my mind, but in the end of it, that's who I am. And I'm not going to take shit from people. And I also know when people are extremely fake, and I'm going to call them out on it. So I don't really care that I got hate for that anymore. And for everyone watching, be careful with your young girls around that dude, because definitely some creepy vibes. you don't believe me, look into it. So that's all I gotta say.
Before we discuss the fight, because I think that this is probably the biggest note, so I want to ask you a little behind the scenes. I know that it always seems like you guys fight for like 12 weeks, like every week is just one fight, but you guys actually all tend to fight, it's like every week there's multiple fights, even though the show edits it to look like it's only one fight a week. Were you the last fight of the season, or was it Usman?
Usman was actually the last fight of the season.
And I think I had a feeling about that because I feel like they are putting Juliana last because of the way the Clare fight, because it was so good. So I feel like that says everything you need to know about I guess, what they thought of your performance. Talking about that though, fans, if you haven't seen it, spoiler, she got the job done. Walk me through that fight with Kaytlin from your point of view.
I honestly, that fight was pretty much a blur to me, and I haven't been able to watch it back yet. So I'm really excited to see all the details. From my memory, the second that bell rang, I sprinted across the cage to meet her in a fist fight, and that is exactly what happened. We were scrapping, man. She rocked me a few times. Eventually I got it down, had some gnarly ground and pound, and I got her in an armbar, and she had such good defense. This is the end of the first round. She stacked me on my head, and I could not for the life of me get that armbar. So I just locked it down and started throwing massive elbows. And this caused a little damage, a little bit of blood. So going into the second round, I probably looked even a little crazier than in the Clare fight. My coaches were like, sit down, take a breather. And I was like, I don't want to sit. They said, sit down again. I fucking kicked over the chair. I was like, no, I don't want to sit down. I want to go back to war. I don't even need this minute break. Like, let me go out there, And I don't know what came over me. I just got in this mental state of like, let me go. I want to finish this fight. Comes round 2, I was able to secure a body lock, get a takedown, and I ended up getting the only submission of the season. And it was this like, I don't know. It was like a mix between like a Carney and a Kimura. It was just like a kind of weird position. I went for an armbar. She defended beautifully, and I was kind of able to just shift it into this awkward 10th planet jiu-jitsu submission. So it was pretty cool. I would just like to say how much respect I have for Kaytlin Neil. She is so strong, one of the strongest women I've ever faced, along with Clare. Clare is just ridiculously strong too. But man, Kaytlin is so cordial. She's hilarious. She's beautiful. She's kind. She takes care of all her stuff. Like, I was very disappointed that I was not on her team. Like, she is just an incredible person. She's an awesome fighter. And it was such a badass fight. So I'm glad we got a fight, but I wish that we could have been like roommates or teammates, because I think that she's so cool. And I just have so much respect for her. Nothing but nice things to say about her. She really is a badass, and man, she freaking hits hard. As does Clare, honestly. I thank God that I had so much time to recover before the finale, because I had these fights within 2 weeks of each other, and my head was just rocked after that. And because those girls can hit hard.
To talk about that now, I mean, you get the job done. Team Peña had a great run. Obviously locks in the heavyweight final. You are the one with the job to do now against Brogan Walker, the only Team Nunes finalist. I know obviously at post-show, you guys go back to your individual teams, but do you still feel some of that momentum? Like, hey, like obviously the men, it's going to be a Team Peña win either way. I got to deliver on my end though here for the flyweights and the women.
Yeah, my point in delivering and me wanting to finish this fight has such a deeper meaning than Team Peña, although I would love to secure the win for her. This win is for my why. This win is for everyone who's ever stuck out themselves on a knife for me, my grandma, my team, my coaches, for all the people out there that are broken, beaten, and damned, that have wanted to quit on life, that think they're not good enough, I always preach from nothing to something, that if I can do it, you can too. And it really is true. You know, 3 years ago, I was at rock bottom. I was just a total mess. I wanted to quit on life. I didn't want to be here anymore. And so this win is such a further purpose than the show. It's more than a contract. It's more than a money. Like, this is life or death for me. This is my why. This is my everything. I want to win as bad as I want to breathe. It's just so intensely written within my heart that you cannot put just one little meaning to it of a show or a team or even a singular person. It's just, I want this as bad as I want to breathe. So.
I mean, I can't ask you anything further about your motivation. I do need to ask you some X's and O's, though. Obviously, you get to see Brogan's fights up close yourself in person while in the show. What does she bring to the table as an opponent that you're going to have to watch out for in the cage?
I actually didn't get to see all her fights in person. I only got to see one. The second one, we were fighting on the same day. So I didn't get to see that until after the show came out. But Brogan Walker has a really strong right hand. She's durable. She's experienced. She's a solid grappler. She's not great at jiu-jitsu. However, her anti-jiu-jitsu is really, really good. Basically, she's good at not getting submitted. She's great at holding you. She loves to hold. She'll get into a controlled position and just hold and hold and hold. And so Brogan has a lot to bring to the table. She has experience. She has power. She has strength. She has durability. She's hard to finish. So it's really going to be a challenging fight for me, and it's going to be an awesome scrap.
I mean, we talked about it before the show, just how much, and you touched on it now, just how much it would mean to you to win it. I'm going to finish it up with just a little bit of housekeeping. Now, having been on Team Peña, has your thought changed? Because I know you thought maybe Amanda gets that rematch. Do you feel better about Peña's chances? Do you feel like, you know what? I think I was wrong. Haven't seen it up close. I think Peña's got it.
100% Peña's got this. Like, I would put money down on it. After rolling with her and training with her and seeing the way her work ethic, the way she trains, how bad she wants it, her intensity, I believe that it's going to be the same exact outcome as the first fight. Amanda has done so much in her career. She owns multi-million-dollar houses. She's made it. She's on her gold throne. Peña has none of that. She's still the underdog. She's hungry as ever. She's constantly been overlooked, and she's freaking hungry and has a point to prove. Where, Amanda's a mom now. Obviously, Juliana's a mom too, but I think that there's just a difference in their mental space. And I think that that's what wins me a lot too, is where my head is at, because I am less experienced. I'm not as technical. All these things that they're saying are true. So what is it about my fighting style that people can't control then, because if my pressure is stupid and easy to defend, then why am I winning my fights? So I think that there's definitely a mental side to it, which I think that Juliana has in the ringer. Where her mindset is just unbreakable. And I believe that Juliana is going to get the finish again and become the GOAT.
If you're on the mat and Peña's on the mat and someone calls out Juliana, who turns around first?
Oh, we both turn around. We're like, what? And then we look at each other and we kind of laugh. So that's actually why I became Juju on the show. So Juliana is genuinely called Julie, and I'm called Juju. So if someone says Julie, she turns. If someone says Juju, I turn. But when they say Juliana, it's literally, we're both like, what? And it's like really funny, but she is the queen of the show. So most of the time they were calling to her.
Finally, what did not make the cut on the show? I know you talked about pranks, and it just felt like either they happened or they weren't big enough to make it on air. I mean, what didn't make it that fans need to know about?
Within my first 5 minutes in the house, Chandler and I got into a fight. Like, I went into this room and put my stuff down, not knowing he wanted that room, but he didn't leave a sweater or a shoe. Normally when someone claimed a room, they left their stuff. There was no stuff in the room. So I had no idea that anyone wanted it. And in that room, there was a picture of Carla Esparza, who was really, really mean to me. So I'm in the room, I put my stuff in there, and I see the picture of her, and I take it down and put it off the wall. Chandler comes walking by and is like, hey, dude, what's your issue? Why are you taking down my homegirl? And I was like, I don't like her, so I'm not going to look at it in my room. And I take it down, and he picks it up and puts it back on the wall. And I was like, yo, this is my room. I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want with it. And I take the picture back down, put it on the floor. He picks it up and holds a picture next to him like this. He's like, bro, what's your problem with my girl, Carla? What'd she do to you? And I was like, basically, Carla was a mean girl on her show. Her and Felice Herrig were really, really mean to a lot of the girls, like ridiculously mean. And they made up this patty cake, right? So Carla's in her picture with her fist like this. I was like, oh, let me be Carla from her season of Ultimate Fighter. And I put my hands where her fists were and I patty caked it. And I was like, shut up. Don't talk to me. Don't talk to me. I'm Carla Esparza. Shut up. Don't talk to me. And he was like, man, I'm taking her with me. And I was like, good, take her with you and make sure you wipe off all the white marks when you're done with it. And he was like, you're crazy. And I was like, well, you're going to deal with me for the next 5 weeks. So, and he turned around and walked out. And like 2 hours later, he like came into the room laughing and he's like, hey man, it's all good, right? And Chandler and I are actually really good friends. We talk to each other maybe like once or twice a month. We're super cool. We're homies. But that was like 5 minutes. Within the first 5 minutes in the house, I was like, God damn, I already got in a fight with a heavyweight. And before the show came out, we're writing back and forth. We're like, oh no, what's going to happen? We were 1,000,000% sure that they were going to put that in there and they ended up not. So we were both like, literally everyone in the house was like amazed because that was like a big drama. Like we were like not screaming at each other, but we were fighting. Like we were loud talking. Like it was pretty funny. Another thing is there was a part of the show where it showed the silly string fight where we silly stringed Zach, but later on, like 2 days, we had stashed like 4 or 5 silly string bottles, and Hannah, Laura, Coach Rick, and we took the silly string bottles, and Team Nunes was sitting at the other table, and it was Clare, Brogan, Eduardo, and like I think Niall sitting at a table, and we silly stringed them, and Brogan was so pissed. She's like, this is so unprofessional. And we're like, man, dude, chill out. Like, it's fucking silly string, girl. Like it's the most simple prank. And she was so upset about it when we went to practice the next morning. She searched the house to find silly string. She swept it up into a pile and put it on the floor in our doorway. So when we tried to walk into our door, we stepped over this giant pile of silly string, and we're like, wow, way to like clean up our mess and then to just leave it in the middle of the floor. Like it was so funny and ridiculous. We're like, this girl is like so salty and boring and lame. Like it was pretty funny. Like how upset she got. Everyone else was like really funny and good tempered about it. Like Claire thought it was funny. She's like, whatever. She just like put off the silly string and she's like, no big deal. She's like, it's freaking silly string, whatever. And Brogan was just so pissed. And afterwards, she came up to us and was like, was it worth it? Was it worth it? And I was like, yeah, we let loose for a second, had a little fun. We've been trapped in this house for 4 weeks. Like it was worth it, you know? So that was another thing that I was pretty sure was going to be on there because it was like, she was so upsetty spaghetti about it that we're like, oh God, this is going to be on there for sure. And it wasn't. So.
Oh my gosh. Well, for the record, they dropped the ball on that one. That is definitely something. Do you have anything left to tell people who are going to be tuning in next Saturday?
Just a huge thank you to Team Peña and all the coaches on Team Peña, and a huge thank you to my coaches at 10th Planet San Diego and everyone who's been helping me prepare. I'm so grateful for the opportunity, and a thank you to you, for just taking time to do the interviews. Like I love the practice, and I think I get 1% better every time I do these. So I hope y'all have an amazing night. Thank you for tuning in, and the weekend's coming up fast, so enjoy it, live a little, and don't take everything so serious in life, and You don't have to be fake all the time or do exactly what's going to make people happy. Honestly, it's incredibly freeing to just say what's on your mind and to be an open book. Not saying that my way of life is right all the time, but I will say that I have more fun than most of the people I know, and I have no regrets. You know, I said what I wanted to, and I'm just really grateful for that.
Juliana, can't wait. Best of luck in the fight. We know it's going to be a good one. UFC Vegas 59, Juliana Miller versus Brogan Walker, the women's flyweight final of the Ultimate Fighter season 30. You guys are not going to want to miss it.